You may be the victim of a crime and not even know it. To be clear, this definitely isn't a case of ignorance is bliss. Our report tells us why.
Between our computers and smartphones, the average teen spends more than 7 hours a day online, and that doesn't count the time we spend online doing schoolwork. And that puts us at increased risk of having our identities stolen. According to a Harris poll, almost 60 million Americans were victims of identity theft, and that survey was conducted in 2018, so it's a sure bet that the number of us hurt by ID theft is now far higher. To learn more about identity theft and how to prevent it, we're joined once again by Kayla Joyce. She's from FTI Consulting, and her expertise is cybersecurity. Welcome back to Teen Kids News.
Thanks for having me.
What exactly is identity theft?
Identity theft occurs when a cyber criminal is able to access certain information about you online to use to impersonate you. That can range anything from a username and password to credit card numbers to banking information and even your social security number.
Wow. Let's say someone steals my ID and opens a credit card in my name. How does that hurt me?
If someone's opening up a credit card in your name, it's definitely not for the right reasons, unless it's your parents. If someone's doing that, they're just racking up charges in your name, and those charges are linked to you. If you don't pay for your credit card bills, that affects your credit score. And while that might not be something that's on the top of your mind right now, if your credit is bad, when you go to buy a home or a car or get a student loan for college, you're going to have some serious trouble trying to convince the banks that that wasn't you making those charges. That's why it's always important to protect your identity so that you have great options for your future planning.
But since I'm a teen, aren't I less likely to have my identity stolen?
Not necessarily. Your age makes you a good target because as you're young, you're probably not monitoring your bank accounts or your credit score as often as your parents are. It's important to be vigilant of those because they could be running rampant with your accounts without your knowledge. And by the time you realize, it's too late to undo the damage they've done.
Okay, so what can we do to amp up our protection?
The first thing I would recommend is to always enable multi-factor authentication when possible. A lot of your accounts should have this available at this point, and what it does is it provides an additional layer of security to your login. So when you go and type in your username and password and click sign in, a second form of identification is required through a text message or an email that's sent to your phone. And so without your phone, a cyber criminal won't be able to access your account even if they have your username and password. The second thing that you should do to amp up your protection is to make sure that you're using really secure passwords. The really secure passwords should include characters and long length and shouldn't be things like your parents' name or your dog's name that are super easy for you to remember, but also super easy for a cyber criminal to find out. And then the third thing I would recommend is to make sure that you're aware of what you're making public online. Are your accounts public? They should be private to secure some of your additional information. You should always make sure to be really vigilant of what you're putting online that can expose you to the risks of identity theft.
Yikes, I've got a lot of work to do. Thanks, Kayla.
No problem, happy to help.
Here are some ways to tell if your identity has been stolen. Pre-approved offers for credit cards or loans arrive in the mail. You get statements from a bank or a credit card company where you've never opened an account. You apply for a driver's license or a student loan, only to discover that someone is already using your name and social security number. The old saying that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure is especially true when it comes to identity theft. For Teen Kids News, I'm Katarina.